Finally tonight, some perspective. Earlier we talked about some polling regarding former President Donald Trump. It remains very strong. Without a doubt, Republicans have fully embraced the ideals of Trump's America First platform. Republicans want a smaller government, less involvement in the Middle East, lower taxes and regulations, etc. All those things that we love so much about the policy. The policy was fantastic. But this brings us to another question that we're all asking ourselves right now. In 2024, do we return to Trump or not? What do we do? Or do we move on to somebody like Ron DeSantis? There are advantages and disadvantages to both. And I'll admit, I haven't even decided which answer I think is correct on this. And I talk about this stuff every day. If you stick with Trump, you're getting the original product, the man who commandeered the Republican Party and wrangled it away from the likes of Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, Liz Cheney. And we're always going to be thankful for that. The great thing about Trump is nobody can motivate Republicans to vote the way he can. Nobody. The guy is bigger than life. The bad thing about Trump, nobody motivates the Democrat vote quite like him either. It almost cancels itself out. If you go with the next best MAGA candidate, may it be Ron DeSantis or whoever pops up and steals our hearts over the next couple of years, you likely avoid the insanity that comes with Trump running for president. All the noise, the mayhem from our corrupt media and Democrats desperately screaming emergency every day with their hair on fire. As pathetic as it is, that's a reality we all have to live with. There's a lot of noise around Donald Trump. And it's something to be said, that is said by almost everybody that I talk to. Just the other day, a girl that I know who loves Trump says, I really do love Trump, but I honestly hope he doesn't run because of all that noise. So what do you think is the right answer on this? It's an honest question. If you don't know, don't feel bad. Neither do I, and it seems President Trump hasn't really decided either. But it's something to noodle, and it's something all conservatives are talking about right now. All right, welcome back. Time for the news from the left. Another dose of reality for the defund the policers. In Atlanta, a city councilman who voted to defund and has aspirations of becoming mayor had his Mercedes Benz stolen in broad daylight at a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Here he is talking to a local news station. Evidently, the four thieves are little kids.
Didn't pay any attention to it or think anything of it. I mean, these kids had to be between the ages of 7 and at most, between 11 and 13 years old. So immediately, my immediate reaction wasn't, hey, they're going to steal my vehicle.
Yeah. Now, of course, a left-wing local politician is going to marginalize this event. Some of the kids involved were as young as 6 years old. What a great community where first graders are already stealing cars. The city councilman's done so well with that city. At this point, you almost wish some city would just take one for the team and just give their cops a week off just to show all these imbeciles how bad it can get when they vote to defund the police. Brown, of course, doing the woke thing, blaming the crime on generational poverty.
Generational poverty has gone on long enough. It's time that we start addressing the root of this problem, because there's no amount of officers you're going to put on the streets in Atlanta that could have stopped this from happening.
Yes, of course, because we have systemic racism, says the city councilman who drives a Mercedes Benz. Next up, an incredible look at the high-maintenance socialist Bernie Sanders. In the new book, Battle for the Soul, Inside the Democrats' Campaigns to Defeat Trump, author Edward Isaac Dover details the Democratic presidential campaigns ahead of the 2020 election. According to Dover, Sanders laid out highly specific travel demands to staffers in his Senator Comfort Memo. Things like demanding king-size beds, and his rooms were stocked with specific drinks and snacks. And then there's this. The temperature in the room had to be kept at 60, even if that required having a staffer sit in the room with an open window in the winter to make sure it cooled enough, or calling management in to override the system. Bernie also, if you remember, required a private jet for a lot of his campaigning for Hillary in 2016. He's got the climate footprint of about 10,000 regular people. What a mountain of hypocrisy this climate change socialist lives on. I mean, how do you even look yourself in the mirror? Next up, former high school track athlete Chelsea Mitchell was the fastest girl in Connecticut at one point in time, until the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference began allowing transgender girls to compete in women's sports. Last week, USA Today published an op-ed from Mitchell where she described her time competing in Connecticut. On May 25, editors at USA Today, without any notice to Chelsea, changed her word, male, to transgender throughout her piece, as you can see here, and condemned her use of hurtful language. Mitchell's attorney, Christiana Holcomb, accused the media organization USA Today, of acquiescing to backlash from the woke mob. Finally, a great tweet that serves as a reminder of how ridiculous our hyper-partisan anti-Trump government is behaving right now. Yesterday, conservative journalist Andy Ngo tweeted this video and headline: Portland police were hit with mortars and fireworks from Antifa when they retreated from a riot. Antifa just set a large fire on the side of the Justice Center that required police and the fire department to respond. It's a story so common, you don't even pay attention anymore. Oh yeah, the Antifa people are still trying to burn down federal buildings. Oh yeah, whatever. Antifa tries to do this all the time. It's almost just an afterthought at this point. The left pretends like it doesn't even happen. Conservative John Cardillo, though, perfectly puts the tweet in perspective. I love this, with his top line: as the FBI hunts down people in MAGA hats who were a half mile from the Capitol on January 6th. I mean, when you put it in perspective like that, it's just so funny. It's so funny. All politics. If Antifa was unarmed and broke into the Capitol on January 6th, it would have been a story for a few days. Mark my words, we're going to be talking about the completely unarmed insurrection until the 2024 election.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.